to Kentucky Tonight. Good evening. I'm Renee Shaw, and tonight we're discussing the 5th Congressional District primary. Our first guest is Republican candidate Gerardo Serrano of Tyner. Congressman Hal Rogers was invited to the program and is not participating. Kentucky's 5th Congressional District extends west to east from Lincoln, Pulaski, and Wayne counties to Pike County, and north to south from Rowan County, Carter County, and a portion of Board County to the Tennessee border. We invite your questions and comments tonight. Join the conversation on Twitter at KYTonightKET and on Facebook Live. Send email to kytonight@ket.org. Use the web form at ket.org/kytonight and make sure to check the box that says you're not a robot. Or you may give us a call at 1-800-494-7605. Please include your first and last name and town or county on all messages. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Mr. Serrano, for being here this evening to discuss the issues facing the 5th Congressional District as we kick off our primary coverage. Tonight, let's give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the state as a whole, but particularly the 5th Congressional District.
I'm Gerardo Serrano. I live in Tyner, Kentucky, and I farm, and that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm originally from Illinois, and I've been here already years, 20 years or so.
Yeah, tell us about, you said you're a farmer, so.
Yeah, I got some, animals and stuff. And
yeah. Why are you mounting a challenge against Congressman Hal Rogers?
I don't find him to be conservative. He doesn't vote as a conservative. He doesn't have the principles of a Republican, I noticed. This has been going on for as long as I've been here. We're the second or third poorest district in the country, not the state, the country, and nothing's changed. Certainly, we've given him enough time. He's been there 40 years. We're still very poor. Nothing's going on. He doesn't vote as a Republican. He votes more of a Democrat. And with all due respect, that's how he votes. He's not concerned about the debt. He's laying the debt on our future, our children, our grandchildren. I have lots of concern. I went through an international custody case in Illinois, and one of the things that I can tell you is that a forensic psychologist has to figure out which one to give the child to, and it's always the best interest of a child. I'm telling you that what he's doing to the 5th District by spending their money is abuse. It would be considered abuse because at some point somebody has to pay it, and I'm 60 years old, so I got a tax break, so who's going to pay for it? Who's going to pay for all this debt? It's going to be our children. And I don't think that is a Republican principle. I know it isn't.
As you mentioned, Congressman Hal Rogers, he is a very entrenched Republican. He's been there since 1981. His service, he was chairman of the powerful House Appropriations Committee for the time that he could be, 6 years. Why do you think, or why are you so confident that he can be unseated, and why do you believe it can be you to unseat him? I just believe that this has been going on for a while. One of the things that I keep asking other Republicans is, why do we keep voting for this guy? I mean, President Trump, say whatever you want to say about him, he has rattled the Republican Party. I mean, he's definitely, if you want to point to somebody that's considered swimming in the swamp, Hal Rogers would be one of the persons that's swimming there with the Democrats. I mean, this recent Omni bill, what was in it, I mean, to amend the Second Amendment, you can't have certain things. You can't do that. It's unconstitutional. He passed the FISA Act. That gets rid of your Fifth Amendment, that due process. That is not a Republican principle. That's not a core principle that we hold on to step on the Bill of Rights. That is not something, basically what he's doing is stepping on the graves of those that died for us to have this, to keep these rights, okay? I'm betting that the Republican Party is going to wake up in this election. I'm betting they're going to look at their children and going to say, hey, that's enough. We gave them a chance. Let's vote the right way this time. Are you confident that you can unseat him?
I'm going to win this election. I'm going to win this election. Look, there's only two reasons why you're voting for me. It's either your children or your country. Either one. Take it. or in some cases it's both. You know, I realize the older people continue wanting to vote for this guy. They remember things of what he did maybe in his first 10 years or so. This is 30 years now has gone by. Everybody's telling me he has changed. And maybe he has. I wasn't here at that time. But I think it's time to get something fresh in here. You know, for one, here's an example of what I would have done. When they closed the coal mines, I would have tackled the reporter and grabbed the mic and said, "You can't do this to my people. You can't do this to my district." I would have done that, but where was he? I didn't hear a word from him. So this is where I think I come in, because I left a paper trail. I'm a fighter. I fought for everything. You know, my child. There's another federal thing that I got going in my rights. My 5 of my amendments were they trespassed on them. So I'm fighting for that. I'm hoping it goes to the Supreme Court. But this is the kind of guy I am. Jackson County knows also of the things that I've done for them, or while I was there.
I want to get to one of the things that you perhaps are intimating. You became intimately familiar with the practice of civil asset forfeiture after an experience with your pickup truck being seized by Customs and Border Protection when you're traveling to Mexico. Is this one of the things that you're talking about that you would like to change? And does that experience inform your opinion about some change that needs to happen at the federal level?
Well, that should have been, you know, when I called, just to give you an idea, when I called Hal Rogers' office, I mean, I understand there's interns in there, but they thought it was funny that they stole my truck, okay? But it's not funny. It violates people's rights. And I really believe if we can, you know, there seems to be a war on our Bill of Rights right now. And I think there's a division, you know, no matter what color you are, the division is we're losing our Bill of Rights. If we can somehow bring back and embrace those Bill of Rights, I think we can be more unified. I mean, no matter what color you are, there's rights being violated. They violated mine, for sure.
How was that situation resolved?
Well, in my case, it's gonna be resolved in the courts. But I mean, I went to Senator Paul's office in Washington, D.C. I had a bill for Kentucky. I couldn't find anybody that was willing to put it on the floor. I went over there to Washington. I showed it to him. He compared it to his other bill that he has there for the federal level, and I've asked for his help, and he said he would help me all he can. Look, I don't have to do this for Kentucky. Like I said, I have one that will change. But you know, when you take these cases all the way to the Supreme Court, it'll last 5 to 6 years before, and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
What are some of the other issues that you're concerned about in Congress that you think you can make a difference in resolving? Well,
the main thing would be the bringing back the Bill of Rights. The other thing is this idea that they can dictate policy to our governor or our state of Kentucky. They don't have that kind of power. The Constitution allows them, they're not allowed to pass whatever the Constitution allows them to have. So when they start talking about, for instance, the state of Kentucky is concerned about the feds with the hemp program. The hemp program is something that they have to pay. If you want to grow it in a plot of land, no matter how big or how small, I think it's like $500 or $550. Well, I live in the most poorest district in the country. How are they going to come up with the $500? So I would tell Governor Bevin, hey, listen, my people can't pay that. But listen, you don't have to worry about the feds. I would be going at the feds, talking to Jeff Sessions, talking to President Trump and saying, look, you can't do this. You're violating their right to dictate their own policy in their own state.
How closely do you agree with the agenda of President Trump, and how would you grade his administration thus far?
You know, there's some good things that he's done. Okay?
Such as?
Well, like I said, he did rattle the Republican Party. He has rattled the establishment. Okay?
From a policy perspective, what do you agree with?
I agree with. I do agree with certain things that he's talking about. What I don't agree with, I'll tell you what I don't agree with. I don't agree when he talks about the Bill of Rights and say, let's forget about the due process here. And he said it once, and it concerns me. And I don't really want to blame him, because I think it's the people around him that's giving him bad advice. And that's why, because he's a new guy on the block. And I noticed he He did very well in the beginning. He was going to get rid of all these people that were part of the problem, part of the swamp, let's say, like as they were saying. But now I'm finding that they're all around him again. Something happened. I don't know what happened, but you know, something is going on. But I tell you what, I know Senator Paul seems to be working really well with him. He does go over there and talk to him a lot. I'm hoping that there's a breakthrough at some point.
Let's talk about your district. You mentioned a moment ago about it being among the poorest in the nation, and many objective media sources would also agree with that pronouncement. There is a lot that has been done to help revitalize the Eastern Kentucky economy, but in your opinion, perhaps it hasn't gone far enough. What do you think needs to be done to move Eastern Kentucky from the bottom of the bad list into the top of the good?
Part of the problem we have, and maybe the rest of Kentucky doesn't know this, but the part of the problem, we have a corruption problem in the 5th District. There's a lot of corruption going on.
Where and with whom?
Well, I'll give you an example. In Jackson County, they found the treasurer. This is a lady that I pointed my finger that I know that you know where that money's at. A year and a half before they caught her, I pointed the finger. You know where that missing money's at. Of course, then I had the executive judge, he's no longer there, and the magistrate the following month give her a vote of confidence. You know, we don't agree with this guy that came in. We're going to give you a vote of confidence. A year and a half later, they find her with her hand in the cookie jar. Okay? So what happened? Okay, this is now a year and a half since that day. Okay? Since they caught her, no charges. Who's dictating policy over there? Who's saying that not to charge her? Now, supposedly they gave it to the FBI in October. Okay, what's going on? There's a lady in Illinois that I just read a story. It's on my Facebook, too. That stole $49,000. She's already going to go to her 2nd or 3rd court date. This lady hasn't even been charged. What's going on? I mean, that is the problem in the 5th District. And a lot of people in the 5th District know it. And it gets to the point where this is where it's really sad. Because they're telling me, you'll never change it. You'll never change. I said, what do you mean? He says, it'll continue going on the same way, and they're not voting anymore. So who's voting? The same ones that this little circle that he's taking care of, but the rest of the people are not getting engaged anymore.
When it comes to poverty, do you have an anti-poverty solution that could help build up those who seem to languish at the life of
yes, the part of the problem is the regulations. We have a lot of regulations that's in the way. There's one little young lady that I won't call her little, but she is short, but she has 3 kids, married, and so forth. Her friends come over and she does her hair, colors her hair. I said, what do you want to do what do you want to do? She goes, I'd like to go to beauty school. Well, why don't you? You do. Everybody thinks she does a great job with the cheap color that she can buy at the stores, okay? They said, well, I need my GED. I don't have time for that. I don't think she knows how to read. She went up to 6th grade. She fell through the cracks in Kentucky. It's a sad story, but she fell through the cracks in Kentucky, and she would be great in doing what she's doing. But unfortunately, we have this regulation. You have to have GED. She knows how to read the directions. Why not let her go to school and let her without the GED?
So what could you do in the less than the minute that we have remaining for the 5th Congressional District that Congressman Hal Rogers is currently not doing?
He was totally against hemp. Hemp would be the perfect plant, one of the perfect plants to grow all over Kentucky, and especially in my district. He's against it. We could grow that everywhere. There's a guy in Lexington that just sold oil, $1 million worth of oil, just on the oil of that plant. We can grow this without the regulations, but the state is afraid of the feds, and the feds are acting like they'd have this power. And my job would be in the federal level to say, look, you don't have this power, you can't do this, let them work.
Okay. Mr. Gerardo Serrano, thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate you attending.
Appreciate it.